When we think of the United States, we picture success, Hollywood, billionaires and innovation. But let's be honest, folks, behind those bright lights, lurking in the shadows of those very towers, there's a hidden reality. Homelessness in America. This isn't just some sob story, some unavoidable tragedy. This is a reflection of a system that seems hell-bent on chewing people up and spitting them out onto the pavement. So in 2024, in the wealthiest country on earth, how many Americans are without a place to call home? And why the bloody hell is this even a question we have to ask? And so let's start with some hard numbers, shall we? In 2024, an estimated 650,000 people in the United States experienced homelessness on any given night. 650,000. That's more than the entire population of Luxembourg. And an entire nation living without stable shelter in a country that prides itself on opportunity. And here's the real kicker. That number, 650,000, represents a 12% increase from the previous year. The land of the free is rapidly becoming the land of the forcibly displaced. Now, I know what you're thinking. Those people made bad choices. They're probably all drug addicts. Look, while addiction and mental health issues are factors for some, it's not the whole damn story. Imagine, if you will, trying to find an apartment in San Francisco or New York on minimum wage. Spoiler alert, you can't. The average rent in these cities will eat your entire paycheck and then some. Then there's the lack of affordable healthcare. One unexpected illness, one trip to the emergency room, and bam, you're financially obliterated. And let's not forget the glorious gig economy, where jobs are as stable as a Jenga tower after 6 beers. 1 minute you're delivering artisanal cupcakes, the next you're living in your car, wondering where it all went wrong. So before you judge someone for sleeping on the streets, ask yourself this: could you survive a week, a day, an hour without a home? Now, if we're going to talk about homelessness in America, we need to address the elephant in the room, or rather, the elephants on the streets of Los Angeles. With over 75,000 homeless people, the City of Angels has more tent cities than actual angels. But don't worry, the Big Apple isn't far behind. New York City, a place where a shoebox apartment costs more than a kidney, boasts over 80,000 people relying on homeless shelters. And then there's San Francisco, a city where the tech bros are so busy disrupting reality that they've forgotten about the actual reality happening right outside their overpriced kombucha bars. Seattle, once known for grunge music and rainy days, is now known for its skyrocketing rents and a homeless population that's growing faster than a weed in a college dorm room. And finally, we have Phoenix, Arizona, where the only thing hotter than the desert sun is the housing market. These are just a few examples, folks, of the cities that are failing their most vulnerable citizens. So where do all these people actually live? Well, if you've ever walked down a city street and wondered about that blue tarp strung between 2 trees, you've got your answer. Sidewalks, parks and underpasses have become makeshift neighborhoods, complete with their own rules and social structures. Then there are the cars and RVs, mobile homes for the unwillingly mobile. It's a step up from a tent, I guess. At least you have a steering wheel to clutch when the despair sets in. And of course, there's always the option of squatting in abandoned buildings, playing a real-life game of hide-and-seek with the authorities. For those lucky few, there are public shelters, but these are often overcrowded, understaffed, and about as welcoming as a prison cell. Many have strict rules, curfews, and a zero-tolerance policy for things like, being human. So, you're living on the streets. Congratulations, you've officially won the worst lottery in the world. What does your day look like? Well, for starters, there's no alarm clock unless you count the sound of pigeons fighting over a discarded bagel. Breakfast is whatever you can scavenge, lunch is a distant dream, and dinner is a crapshoot. Hygiene is a luxury most can't afford. A public restroom becomes a spa. A water fountain, a shower. Finding a place to go to the bathroom that won't get you arrested or worse is a daily challenge. And then there's the constant threat of violence. Some try to find work, but without an address, a phone, or even a change of clothes, it's nearly impossible. Now, let's talk about the most heartbreaking victims of this crisis, the children. Over 30% of the homeless population are families with children. That's right, kids, those tiny humans who are supposed to believe in Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy, are instead learning about the harsh realities of life on the streets. Imagine trying to explain to your child why they can't go to school because you had to move your tent in the middle of the night. Imagine watching them get sick because they haven't had a proper meal in days. These children are often shuffled from shelter to shelter, school to school, never having a place to call their own. They are denied the basic necessities of a stable upbringing, their dreams replaced by a desperate struggle for survival. It's a national tragedy, folks, and it's happening right under our noses. Now, before you go thinking that homelessness is just a problem for, well, the homeless, think again. This crisis has a nasty habit of spilling out into the wider community like a dropped burrito bowl of societal problems. For starters, there's crime. Desperation, as they say, makes people do desperate things. When you're hungry and hopeless, stealing a loaf of bread or resorting to drug use might seem like the only option. And let's not forget about the strain on our already overburdened healthcare system. Cities are spending billions of dollars each year trying to manage the symptoms of homelessness without ever addressing the root causes. So can this problem be solved? Well, I'm not going to lie to you folks, it's a big complicated mess, but the short answer is yes, it can. But it's going to take more than just spare change and a pat on the head. It's going to require systemic change, a complete overhaul of how we approach poverty, mental health, and social support. First and foremost, we need affordable housing. And I'm not talking about those luxury condos marketed as affordable because they only cost 3 times your annual salary. We also need to address the root causes of homelessness, mental health, addiction, lack of education, and job training. It's not enough to just give someone a roof over their head. We need to give them the tools to build a life for themselves. Now, I know what you're thinking. Amasha, this is all very depressing. Is there anything I can do to help besides pouring myself a stiff drink? Well, I'm glad you asked. First and foremost, educate yourself, read articles, watch documentaries, talk to people who are experiencing homelessness. The more you know, the better equipped you'll be to make a difference. Support organizations that are working to end homelessness. Donate your time, your money, or your voice. Every little bit helps. Contact your elected officials and demand change. Tell them that you're tired of seeing people sleeping on the streets, that you demand better solutions. And most importantly, treat homeless people with compassion and respect. They are human beings, just like you and me, who deserve a chance at a better life. America, the land of opportunity, except, it seems, for those who find themselves staring at those opportunities from the wrong side of a cardboard sign. This is the hidden side of the American dream, the one that rarely makes it onto those glossy postcards. But here's the thing, this isn't some Greek tragedy, some unavoidable fate. We can build a more just, more compassionate society, one where everyone has a roof over their head and a chance to thrive. The choice, my friends, is ours.